Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Another day, and well, indeed as promised, first actual fight against Vorkath. I'll be an easier version, because you'll notice it's only level 390, as opposed to... Also, yeah, just for the savvy, again, don't fucking use protect range when you've got shield, or... I don't actually know on that, but yeah, you'll see here, no. See, when it comes to this phase, don't bother try to do the loot swap, because not only was it nerfed in that, but also, yeah, that's actually would hit constant 30s as opposed to 15s and that, Yeah, no. That's why I was doing so shit, and I did not, I would have not survived this fight if I had gone a little bit worse luck, but yeah, I'm actually thinking, no, actually, yeah, I'm actually putting this correctly the first time, but then I think I got confused and I thought, also, yeah, that didn't help. There's a lot of things that you do. Also, yeah, I butchered this one up badly. Yeah, see, too late, and boom, yeah, just too late. I was doing every kind to be mentally prepared for this, and I still somehow came out barely having succeeded on that, but... As I say, you also notice, I think the health bar there is a little smaller as well. It's not quite as large as, it would normally be, It's, yeah, also, the acidic pools healing Vorkath little by little indeed. Yeah, this is what I mean. It's in terms of how you learn new bosses. I say, what I will say is I'm rather surprised. Also, damn, that camera's not positioned well at all. There we go. That's a lot better. So, as far as the actual introduction of Vorkath is concerned, it's actually rather interesting that they didn't do a similar thing for Zulrah. Yeah, I don't know, it's strange because I was thinking there, would I be wrong in thinking that, I don't know if I assume Mooning's Part 2 is considered a Master Quest. Would I be wrong in assuming that there should have been another one in between that and someone else that introduces Zulrah? And that, say, I don't know, kind of... I don't know how you could do it exactly, but it would be an interesting one pulled off, and then that way you would unlock Zulrah. It's a similar hard mode, being the actual one, and the easier one would be kind of what you get introduced to. That kind of thing. But yeah, indeed, that is the first defeat of the Vorkath. Easy mode at that, yes, easy indeed. Oh boy, yeah. And then I end up killing him over 200 times later on, and probably even more so once I start membership up once more. And although I don't know how the fuck's going to work in the latter half, and because there's only a bot in 2 weeks, and even then I'm wondering how things will go. Also, that dragon bitter indeed. Yeah, oh man, I used to remember getting out of the kitchen and all that, the fancy dragon bitter of it. Also, that very much unique symbol indeed. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be reference to Runescape 3's Stone of Jas. And that, yep, that one. So, as far as, oh yeah, and the actual key and that, not forgetting that. Yeah, so as far as actual what I think about, well, Ungale as a location and that, it's not too bad. And I mean, obviously, you're just there for Vorkath. Vorkath is the attraction. You're not really going to give a shit about what's underneath or around it. It's just, you go in, you kill the money dragon, get a whole bunch of bank, and give out roughly 20 kills an hour, you're pretty solid. About around 2.6 to 3 mil an hour. And which is pretty good. Not I'm going to say it's pretty good. I can't say, it could be better still, which there's always a better one. If you're good at Shivers Exotic soloing, you could probably get 4 or 5 mil, no problem. If you're really fucking good, you get an excellent team. Is that a 4 members team? And that, you have a Vorkath? No, Vorkath, fuck. Yeah, leading all the fights up to Lady Verzik. Yeah, it's possible to actually get 9 or even 10 mil an hour. It really is that possible. You get all the good uniques in that, So, it really depends on how you see it. And that, I mean, unfortunately, I still can't attest to how difficult Theatre of Blood is, because, yes, indeed, I have not actually managed to secure entry into it, It's just, it's fucking bizarre. And that, oh yeah, sure, Chambers of Exotic, that's very easy to access, but I can solo that. And though it's going to be harder for me, I'll gladly take the hard road on this one, just you know, it pushed me to learn it better until eventually I could start doing it well enough solo, and, you know, hey ho, that's me done it the hard way. Theatre Blood simply will not let me, and you must have a minimum of 3 people, and it's shit, because again, solo would be so much, I think it would be interesting, because then it would fuck over because it's like, I don't know, would it? You know, because you could say, well, oh, there's a solo, just do it solo, you know, and all that, but I don't know, I get the feeling that, you know, if you're good enough, they'll still take you on, even if you're an iron and you've not got quite as many supplies, you know. That's the thing, and that I feel like the problem with Theatre Blood is it's a content's locked behind either friends or well, I should say high skilled friends or clans, and unfortunately I haven't really managed to collaborate any kind of I guess you could say meaningful stuff with old school Runescape friends and all that, even with me being permuted and all. And as for clans, it's just like, nah. Yeah, elitism is indeed a real thing, and I can understand where it comes from, but indeed, it's a different kind of looking content, like with the Venezuelan revenant caves and that. You know, you're not being forced out unless you pay up. It's just, you know, unless they trust you, which very rarely is the case, you know, they'll just, nah, they won't bother. And it's just mighty unfortunate indeed, but it is what it is. Yeah, man. So, as far as getting back to the Venezuelan farms, indeed, yes, getting back to that because I had more to say about it. Yeah, generally speaking, as far as the actual, like, people have been saying in regards to, well, alright, there's so much farming going on, why is the gold price, you know, not crashing, why is everything still, like, prices, you know, still just about the same? They're right, and they're also wrong. Right in that, yes, indeed, the prices haven't really changed much in that, you know. If anything, it's still going down because of the whole, well, yeah, it kind of is going down, but not for the reasons you think. But that's yet to be seen, and that. We just know that summer's over, people are going back to work, even though there's COVID-19 over here starting a second lockdown, you know, and people just like, you know, as a result, there's not as much demand, so prices go down naturally. However, there is a bit of dubiousness in regards to the gold price on black market seems to have went quite a day. Like, fucking hell. You know, there used to be a time when gold prices used to be worth, I think around, I want to say 90 pence to close to £1. So in my mind, that's how I always associated it. Where you're like, oh, I've got this nice, you know, Archer's ring 5 mil. That's worth £5 and that. You know, like something nice, and you know, I added up to like my bank. Well, I guess you would still say it, my bank is worth about £2,000, except now it's not really because the prices have reached, I think it's, I've heard in some cases as low as just under 50 pence, and I like cut down in half. If you think like even a year ago, it was still doing an alright 65, 70 pence, so someone's caused that to sky crash, like just, you know, like what is the main thing? And I do reckon it is indeed that, you know, it's caused by lots of people gold farming. There's a mass supply of gold, and although I will give credit, did you read that? Like a lot of it goes into people buying stakes. You know, a lot of real world traders love the stakers because they will buy shit tons of gold, and through that gold, even if it's massive, like trillions or trillions, will slowly, it will slowly trickle down, and that, you know, wishy washy, you know, like that trillion, you know, it becomes, say, in a year or so of constant staking jewelry, and it could easily become maybe not even half, you know, 500 billion, because people are constantly staking back and forth in that, and every time they do that, you know, if it's small, which almost nobody does, it's just, I want to say it's 0.1%, and that, though I'm not sure, I think if it goes under 100k, you can't, it doesn't get taxed, but I'm fairly sure it's not the case. And if it's between a small amount to a fairly decent amount, it's 0.5%, and then beyond, I want to say 10 million, but I'm not sure. Yeah, 10 million, then you get taxed at a full 1%. And that, so generally that's how it goes, and that slowly over the many trades, and that huge amount of cash gets slowly whittled down, and that, though it does make staking to be an overall loss, and that in the long run. Also, these mithril dragons, indeed, so fucking crap they are for money making. I'm surprised they've not been given an indirect buff, and that, but here we are. Also, yeah, new content, indeed. Yeah, this was never around when I first did that screenshot way back in 2017, I can assure you that much. You know, but here I am discovering it for myself, and you know, oh boy. But yeah, just in regards to people trying to combat the efforts with the their own clans and that. It's some cases had a bit of success, but really it's just like wasting their time at the end of the day, you know. And I would say that, yeah, it's some of that Jagex, I feel like they're in a bit of a conflict of interest because, you know, they want to try and combat, you know, real world traders and bots and all, but at the same time, they kind of benefit from them. Like, allow me to explain. If it's not through buying membership, which almost no real world trader or bot does these days, it's all through bonds. So then you think, alright, you pay for a bond, but GP, but you don't get the currency. Well, allow me to explain, because this is the thing. Alright, understand that when it comes to supply and demand, alright, well, you have lots of things, the overall product becomes cheaper, and this makes it less attractive to buy for people who actually want to get it for money, and that, you know? So people paying Jagex real money for that. However, when there's a lot of it being consumed, there's less supply. That means more demand for something that isn't really there, you know, and thus the price goes up to reflect that. So when it starts going to 3 to 4 mil, 4 to 5, and even I think 1.5 to almost 6 bloody mil, you know, people then say, alright, you know, the prices are really good. Let's start buying, say, 10, 20, 50, 100 bonds, you know, the people who've got a lot of money, you know, the whales. And even then, they're still always buying. It's just a matter of, are there less whales buying it, or is there more? And this is how real world traders and botters, you know, they're illegitimate players at the end of the day, but they do contribute to that demand. So by kicking them, yeah, they're doing shitty things, but if you kick them, there's less demand. Less demand, not so many bond sales. Not many bond sales, very unhappy investors. And if there's very unhappy investors, that could be other forms of monetization introduced to old school RuneScape, which would be very bad for the players of old school RuneScape as a whole. You know, I'm just saying this as a matter of fact in terms of what is the business model and that, you know, like the bonds was the saving grace, you know, preventing the investors from trying other forms of monetization. So it's a weird one, so I can understand, but it's the whole thing about compromising integrity, and I suppose they're very quiet about that, you know, they don't want to say even a little snip of anything, you know, just in case if they don't want to end up losing their jobs or something, you know, that kind of thing. And so to an extent I can agree, and no doubt all the business minded conservative folks will agree with me on that one, no doubt about it. And but there we go, and I've got so much other news to cover, but indeed we have a cinematic cutscene coming up, and yes, now we finally got the full key itself, and that, you know, and yes, being able to reveal what is this game's major boss, and that, you know, very much the dragon itself, and oh boy, yep, this, ladies and gentlemen, is quite the scene to behold. Also, interesting enough, this is, according to what I know, this is actually the very same place that you fight you'll see those barriers you can't pass and that. This is the very same place that you actually end up fighting both the Adamant and Rune, is it Rune or Runei? I don't know exactly, I would just call them Rune Dragons. And that, you know, yeah, these very fearsome beasts indeed, which I reckon I'll do a video on at some point, but no, Democracy comes first. And that, you know, Rune Dragons are like really, really high tier, whereas, like, actually, funnily enough, Rune Dragons I think have a higher combat level, yet they're easier to take care of than Democracy, which actually requires some thought put into it, but alas. So yes, indeed, that is Galvek, indeed. Probably, I would say arguably the hardest quest boss yet. Yes, harder than the one after this. Though I will say Monkey Man is the easiest of the three. And that, fun enough, I've heard that people really struggle with the Sins of the Father, yeah. That one, you know, people struggle with that boss, and yet, I did it on my first go. Like, it was challenging, but it wasn't like, oh, I'd die multiple times to get it. No. If any of the fucking boss before that, the Rannis one, that was actually difficult. And there was Van Strong was actually manageable. And yes, indeed, yeah, the Dragonkin in the flesh. Yes, oh yes. Now, funnily enough, I guess to get a bit of lore in regards to, was it Elvarg and Vorkath and all the other dragons. Yeah, surprisingly, I've always had this theory of, you know, what are the superior dragons, you know, like, I've always suspected Green's being like, you know, Elvar's being the superior green dragon, you know, that one. Yeah, the other two always have been Vorkath, the Legend Blue Dragon, and Red indeed, the sort of mythical one. But the black one, King Black Dragon, that's a bit of an oddball. And the reason I say that is because I don't know if it's something that's just different. I mean, probably. And he was the first one to be fucking introduced. In fact, actually, that's a good question. Who's introduced first? Elvarg the quest boss or King Black Dragon the PvM boss? My money would be on Elvarg just because without a shield, how are you meant to combat effectively? So, yeah, probably Elvarg, but surely after King Black Dragon, then these two got introduced at long last. It's just too bad. Galvik, after this boss is kind of, after the end of this quest, there's nothing that's done with him. Unlike with Vorkath, who's used as the sort of the moneymaker one, where it's always had an idea for Scozo, but, with... I suppose that would be interesting, and I'll share my thoughts on that a bit later on, but certainly Galvik is an interesting fight, but what if he had his own hard mode fight that was brutally tough? Needed to be axe near max in order to stand a reasonable chance with the best in stock gear and that. Yeah, that hard. And but alas. So, while this ongoing shenanigans is pursuing right on the screen, yes, I suppose I'll get back to... this is fun. So, alright, settled the Swampletics man. Indeed, turns out he's been in a bit of trouble in these past couple of weeks and that, because something to do with a breakup with his girlfriend and that, who I believe it's called Cyrilyn, I think her name is. Oh boy. Something like that. Indeed, reveals that he's been... Also, oh fuck, that's sudden death indeed. Oh fuck. Yeah, so, as far as that show, what's been going on and that, it's to do with account sharing and that, yes. Oh boy. Oh dear, oh fuck. Yeah, so, what I reckon, in regards to what he's been going on, basically, he's had his whole kind of spiel about how he does the whole really hard ultimate grind himself, and that, meet Swampletics, what's it out, I do all this stuff with, Mauritania, it's extremely hard grind and that, it was the whole idea that he presented it as being his own extremely tough and, arduous challenge and that, which most people wouldn't bother with. And as it turns out, to an extent, he kind of didn't bother with that himself and that, because as it turns out, yes, he has been indeed, also readjust again, he has been caught, or rather, I suppose revealed to have been account sharing in that with none other than his girlfriend at the time, Cyrilyn, who I think broke up not long before she had revealed this to her. You could say, well, that is indeed a female pupsy move, and a la bitch move indeed. Yeah, that kind of thing where essentially she just didn't feel like, the public should have been hidden away from all this that they deserve to know, and you could say there is a bit of spite in there. I mean, who wouldn't be? And it's that kind of thing where it's like, someone who doesn't have any reason to be spiteful against them, it's like, oh, you don't know him, how could you, be trusted in that? And when you do know him, it's like, oh, you're just better, you have to be negative doers. You're like, it's that kind of mindset. You see that a lot of microtransactions, so it's interesting the mental gymnastics some people have. It's like, you want to do the opposite for microtransactions, but for this, you want to be counterintuitive. It's to acknowledge that it's not like, oh, that's it, he's now to be shunned and just be ostracised. Rather, it's to say that he fucked up, he's no longer as credible as he can be, but, he still makes fun content. And that's not what they want to admit. They say, oh, no, you're definitely in the wrong, and no, not our fault at all. If everybody's seen the presidential debate, a couple of days ago, you'll know what I'm talking about here. And that just in regards to the whole fucking trialism aspect, people, also King Lathis, we'll get on terms for the next part, believe me, that we fucking shall. But, this whole tribalism aspect of not just politics, but how it sort of seeps its way into communities into ways you wouldn't expect, because you don't have to be political to have that kind of mindset carry through, and that's like, it's us versus them kind of mentality. It's an unfortunate thing I've seen in a lot, and some that, for all the misgivings I went through and trying to fucking learn, as a higher English than that, I will forever thank it for being able to give me the ability to to be able to develop my bias in that, to know what's objective and what's subjective in that, be able to critically analyse things and that, you know. It's a skill that very few people have these days, and oh boy, that's a whole fucking thing in itself. But anywho, yes, getting back to what's going on, yes. So indeed, the Vorkath is now out of the cell or prison, and Lifkren is threatening the world, and this is the whole gathering all the different forces and that, you know, to combat this great threat, yeah, fitting for a Grandmaster quest, and actually, arguably, probably more so than the first one, which was largely contained in Karamja for the most part, and all the time I went outside was in the Gnome Stronghold, whereas this one's kind of more about around the world and getting all the different groups and armies together. It's a quite climatic, and I will say that much. It's very much the opposite of One Small Favour, I can guarantee you that much. And that was just, yeah, when you think of One Small Favour, you think of Dragon Slayer 2 as being the complete opposite, and you'd have every right to believe that. You know, it's a pity then that this was only the penultimate quest of me doing this, you know, the second of the 3 Grandmaster quests, whereas Song of the Elves is the one coming up, so I can't really claim this is the ultimate one. And even then, I've still got 2 quests to do now, because, you know, you poor sign of interest, and, well, I gotta hope that at the end of this spawn, that will be that. I will finally have my very much desired quest cape at last, at level 125, and, you know, almost maxed out, but, alright. I believe this will be leading to this meeting thing, and yet soon we shall see what on goes in there. But alright, I'll see you guys in the next part. Till then, folks.